Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome back to League Racing TV. And you join us on this Wednesday night for the fourth round of the Esports Masters Premier League, I should say, as we head to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix to go do it all over again in this race of attrition. I do hope you're having a good Wednesday night, and of course, if you've come over from League One, I hope you've enjoyed what has been a hectic night already. Hopefully, there's a sense of calm here tonight. But we are just heading into the Baku race, and we're heading into the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, so I'm not sure that one's going to hold. Anyway, thank you for joining us. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box is the man himself, the myth and the legend, the Mr. trying to get 100% of Esports Masters League here of attendance. It's the lovely Mr. James Head. James, how are you tonight?
These introductions are getting better by the week, honestly. I'm doing really well, Kieran. How are you?
I'm very well indeed, and of course looking forward to some good racing action. And as I've already mentioned before, James, it's going to be a race of attrition here at the Baku City Street Circuit. I mean, the previous races we've been here in real Formula 1, the past four, have been absolutely mental.
They have been mental, and I think every time we come here, certainly from a commentator's perspective, there is always this race that really puts it in amongst the rest of the field. And here tonight in Esports Masters League, it's a bit different because we don't know what most of these drivers are going to do around this track. They could be totally, it could be a total free-fall out on track. It could be a war of attrition, as you say. 6 kilometres in length, that 2 kilometres straight is going to prove crucial. It could prove to be quite tactical as well later on in the race, but we'll get onto that, I think, further on in qualifying.
Absolutely, and to take you through these team standings so far, if you've missed the first 3 rounds, well, where on earth have you been? S2V Esports are leading the way on 107 points, and as you can see, further down the field, it's very close, very compact throughout this field. The real ones to watch out for as well, Customs Exilium, they've been really consistent all the way through so far, currently holding down in 3rd place. Bit of a slow start so far for CPI, but they do run on some reserve cylinders. Sometimes one driver shows up. Hopefully they'll have a full showing today in tonight's race here in Baku to hopefully get them into double figures going in towards tonight's race. And if you're unfamiliar, of course, with the Esports Masters League point scoring system, hopefully they'll be on your screen now. And as you can see, the winner takes 25 points, second place takes 22, and you can see it scales down when we get to 5th place by 1 point for every position. So 20th place scores 1 point. Now, these point system only applies if you make the checkered flag. If you do not finish this race, if you do not take the checkered flag, you do not score points. So even if you trundle your way around with half a front wing for about the 26 laps we're about to see unfold here in Baku, if you make it to the checkered flag, you're scoring points. And the main thing, the main cause as to why S2V haven't quite got the lead we expected them at this point is because whilst one driver has been winning the races, their other driver hasn't had quite the same amount of luck in the race and found themselves down the order. And that's why this close point scoring system rewards consistency of the drivers rather than the race results themselves.
Yeah, and I think coming on to the race results, we've certainly seen S2V, one of their drivers, certainly each week, each month that we've came here, really excel out on track. No pun intended there for the League One viewers who are just coming over. They're represented this week by Oscar Marino and Andres. We're going to run through, of course, the full grid just very soon. But these two guys, I think, have been a partnership here before, and Oscar Marino, if I'm not mistaken, has been up in the top 3 on one of the occasions in this race. From the top of my head, he might have done even better than that. But it speaks about consistency. There's a lot of consistency needed, especially at a track like Baku. Even that 1 point for 20th position, if you are in that plumb last 20th position, do not give up, because that could be that 1 point that separates the win and second place in the Esports Masters League.
Yeah, and that's going to be so crucial as we head towards the latter stages of Esports Masters League as well. And as James has said, hopefully the driver lineup is now coming up on your screen if it hasn't already, so you can take a good look at those drivers that we're seeing today. And it's more of the same, isn't it, James? There's that sense of consistency through all of the teams. The one that points out to me is Harry Bank for Leonis. He's taking the role of the second car there. And further down the order, I think Customs Exilium are bringing in Anderoa. I don't think he's raced before. If he has, he's certainly gone under my radar. But looks like more of the same, and that shows how consistent the teams want to be. They have the faith in their drivers, and they want them to get into that rhythm.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think it also shows the sparseness of each team, the squads that each team have. They can pretty much choose anybody within that squad to come here and race. Each month in Esports Masters League, in the Premier Division, and in League One as well. TTG Esports doing double time, of course, they're racing there with the Academy guys. But also, Kazizzle is an interesting one. He is, I think he's just recently signed for FOL Esports. He's a recent addition into League One, Division 1, I should say, of League of Europe, and a really consistent driver on his day. Me and him go quite a way back, so don't be surprised if you see me ramble on about him all night. But I think CPI might have a good chance. I think I've said this every month that we came here for these races, that CPI would do well. They're in the plumb last position currently on 9 points currently. They've got Bullet Boy, and I believe they've got Connor also racing here tonight as well. So it should be quite interesting. Hopefully, this is the start of their Esports Masters League.
Yes, let's hope so. They've got 9 points on the board so far, and hopefully, for their sake, they'll be able to get up the table just a little bit more. Well, of course, the fixture list, well, tonight takes us to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here on the 25th of November. Hey, that's today. Next month, we'll be heading to the Canadian Grand Prix for the fifth round of the championship. That's on the 16th of December. Then the British Grand Prix, which takes us into the new year on the 27th of January. And you can see the rest of the rounds there. We go to Belgium, Italy, Singapore, then the final round at the Brazilian Grand Prix, where a title will be decided by that point. And if that sounds like your cup of tea, then why not follow us on Twitter at EML_F1 to keep up to date with the championship standings. Of course, when the race ends tonight, if there's any stewards' decisions, then that will be announced on the Twitter there. So make sure you go and follow that to keep right up to date with the league. And of course, if you fancy a bit of red and black, or maybe even a bit of your white and black on your liveries and on your PS4s and on your shirts, well, I'm glad to say that there is merchandise available for Esports Masters League, and the link will be in the description below. So if you fancy that on yourself or on your PS4, maybe even your PS5, I hear red and white is a fantastic colour combination, then of course head over to the website there in the description where you can find all those goodies there. But of course, James, we head now closer and closer and closer to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and as we've already stated, how narrow this track is, how difficult this track is, keeping your front wing intact is surely plan A.
Plan A is to keep your wing intact, and Plan B, I think, would just stay very cautious, I think, out on track. You don't want to be going for moves that are not really going to be pulled off, especially going through somewhere like the castle section. That is probably the worst section of the track you could probably try and overtake on. You can't even get a car one wide, never mind two wide, running up through there. I've seen it plenty of occasions. Somebody tries to dive down the inside and they both end up in the wall. So hopefully that doesn't happen here tonight. There's also quite a few pinch points, I think, out on track as well. Turn 15, I think, is going to be quite interesting. If you hop over the curb, it flings you basically off into the wall, and that right side end plate damage would become quite vulnerable to a lot of aggravation with the wall being just to the right-hand side. And speaking of that castle section as well, did you know the 7.6 metre, it's a 7.6 metre wide? Yeah, Kieran told me that about 15 minutes ago, so I just robbed him of that fact.
You stole my stat. Oh, that's not very nice, James. But I can tell you some of the drivers that have been claimed, the egos there, the likes of Jolyon Palmer, the likes of Charles Leclerc, and the likes of Sergio Perez have all found the wall there, just to name a few. That castle section doesn't care if you're a newbie in the sport, it doesn't care if you're a rising star, and it doesn't even care if you've been in this sport longer than you even realise. If you make a mistake there is no coming back from it.
I remember, actually, Tom will remember this, I think. We were in a league race once, me and Tom, and I mistakenly tried to go around the outside of him into the castle section.
Madman.
You could have guessed what happened there.
Did it work perfectly?
No. Definitely not.
What gave me that idea that it didn't? I can't think. Maybe the 7.6 metre wide thing might have something to do with that. But yeah, one of those tracks on the calendar that I think everybody looked at it at first and thought, really? We're racing here? 3 or 4 years down the line, we're sort of thinking, yeah, I can imagine this as a track. I think due in part for the early races. I mean, 2016 and 2017 were particular highlights, where in 2017 the race was red flagged due to the amount of debris out on track. Lots of drivers were complaining that debris was screamed all across the track and it needed a red flag to actually clear up all of the damage. So it's fair to say it's got a good bit of history behind it. If you're a safety car, you've been deployed every single time. So if we see the virtual burn Mylander tonight, like we have seen in League One, then there's a high chance of the virtual burnt Mylander being deployed here tonight. But let's have a wait and see. The total hotspots for that safety car do seem to be that castle section, without a doubt, the castle section. But also going in towards that second sector, the end of the second sector, as you already said, James, turn 15 is also going to be a bit of a hotspot there. If you jump over that curb too much, you can invite that little bit of air time and find yourself into that right-hand side wall very, very easily there. But I think as well, turns 5 and 6, if you manage to get it wrong there and manage to find the wall there, that seems to be a hot spot for the safety car as well. I think, in all honesty, you could put a hot spot around the entire circuit as a point for the safety car to be deployed, because it's so narrow here. You can understand why the safety car is deployed so often.
Yeah, I'll say about turn 19 as well. If you've got an unstable setup coming through turn 19, you're bound to either clip the wall on the outside or spin the car into a half spin and then take yourself out of the race and then possibly deploy the virtual Burt Mylander out on track, being a safety car, being a VSC. That could be quite dependent as well. I don't think, personally, we might see a safety car here tonight. These guys are quite knowledgeable. They know what this track is all about. I think we're not going to see a safety car here tonight. But saying that, I've been wrong plenty of times here in League Racing TV. You can count them up as we go along.
Yeah, this is when somebody looks back at this and edits in the safety cars that we have in this race. Expert analysis of James Head there. I should say pre-analysis. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm hedging my bets on there being a safety car. It's just simply too narrow, and all it takes is one driver making that mistake going into that castle section, and you've got yourself a safety car right there for free. Talking about the strategy just very quickly, as we're seeing some of the drivers now start to ready up, so that means we haven't got a lot of time left to get some pre-analysis of the race in. But going into this race, James, what are you expecting the tyre strategies to be?
It has to be a one-stop strategy. The soft compound of tyres aren't really reliant on the tyre deg around here. The tyre deg is around 4-5% per lap. It's not as heavy as other tracks that is on the F1 calendar. So they might get away with trying to get the tyres to around lap 8, lap 9, and then put on a set of hard compound of tyres, or maybe even a set of mediums towards the end of the race. It's going to be fascinating to see. If there's a safety car, of course, then I think a two-stop strategy could possibly work. Obviously, if they have to pit in, if it's deployed very early on, they could deploy in and pit in. But we are about to get underway, it seems.
Absolutely, indeed. And as we head in towards this qualifying session now, I'm really looking forward to this one. We've got Baku this month, we've got Canada next month. What is not to love about those two tracks? They're going to provide action, and they provide close action all the way up the field. So I'm highly looking forward to this one. We'll get into that short qualifying in just a couple of minutes' time. I hope you're looking forward to this race. Keep that comment section alive, and make sure you're liking the video. Subscribe to the channel as well if you're new, and hit that notification bell so you're notified of a race every time we go live. But enough talk, let's get into the action. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The Baku City Street Circuit is our fourth round of the EML Premier League as we head for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, a place where old meets new. And of course, the tyre compounds we have tonight, C2, C3 and C4. A nice rounded middle of the road sort of setup here tonight for the drivers expecting those one-stop strategies out in force. And of course, it is a track, like I said, that old meets the new. Ever since we've come here in 2016, it's always delivered that amount of action out on track. 6.003 kilometres separates the old from the new here in Baku, as we see a long straight there. 2 kilometres it is from turn 16 all the way now down towards turn 1, with 1.5 kilometres of that being total straight. So expect that DRS to be used and abused heading down in towards turn 1. We have the glimmering sunlight there, as you saw in the intro video, but now it's not quite so much of that. A little bit of rain heading out there. Looks like it's intermediate conditions. This could shape up qualifying.
Yep, intermediate conditions for the guys out on track, and this track, if you thought it was difficult to drive in the dry, it's even more difficult to drive in the wet conditions. We've got the first cars beginning to come out the pit lane right about now. Not sure who is the first one. We've got an array of mix of colours here tonight, so we'll have to try and flick through. It's Kaz who's first out for Team Mentalism.
He is indeed, as we now makes our way now towards turn 2, and of course it's going to be a little bit more slippery now for Kaz as he makes his way all the way through there. Just a bit of a sight lap, because all these laps that the drivers would have put in would have been for the dry running, so they're just going to have to get up to speed, make sure they know what they're doing out there. Of course they'll know what they're doing. They're some of the top drivers in their league, so they'll be looking to get some good points on the board. And as of course, as we see Kaz making his way in through turn number 4, as we get to that quick 5-6 section, and of course we're using the multiplayer cars, which of course means big lock up there for Kaz in towards turn 5. Of course that means the livery editors are out in force once again, and of course we get to see them in full display. A lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of effort goes into designing these cars, and better yet, the livery editors now have the colour picker with a number by the side, so you can literally send which number needs to be that colour, so hopefully the cars out there look much more consistent than they did last month.
Yeah, I definitely think they do look a lot more consistent. Kaz certainly running that beautiful Team Mentalism logo, of course, their blue, orange and black on their livery. Looking very nice indeed. Pedro just joined the session back. He had a little bit of a disconnect. Looks like Kaz is actually struggling because Volo Konkin is catching him on an outlap here. But we will go for that very shortly indeed, as Kaz is the first out on track. And just to pinpoint it out there as well, CPI are only having one driver here tonight. It seems Bullet Boy is the only one appearing.
Well, we're on board with Kaz, and of course, if you've watched League Racing TV, it is James who's in charge of these hot laps. It's going to be a pretty soggy hot lap, but let's hand it over to him for a lap and a tour around Baku.
So here comes Kaz, already down 200 mile an hour in excess, reaching down towards turn 1. And let's see what the Frenchman can do out on track. Bricks hard in towards turn 1. Expect lap times, I think, around here of the 150s, 152s maybe. With Kaz coming up towards turn 2. Two 90-degree left-handers to kick us off, as Michelizzi has picked up a 5-place grid penalty with a collision with CGT and Groa. Hope I pronounced that right. Kaz is on the run down towards turn 3. And looking very good indeed as he comes now down hard into the braking zone. 195 mile an hour reach. You don't want to catch the curve on the inside. You don't want to catch the curve anywhere, I think, around this track here in Baku. So now Kaz comes through turn 4. And that is pretty much the end of the first sector. Bit of a lock-up again. These guys, of course, not running any ABS. So it's going to be quite difficult in these conditions. It's a 40.7 through the first sector for Kaz as we take out the wide-out camera angle through 6 and 7. And then on the run through 5 and 6, then in towards turn 7. There's the flame towers just off in the distance there. So now Kaz comes through turn 7 and then into the infamous castle section. Count them up as we go along. I hope you've got, well, you haven't got 12 fingers. 8, 9, 10, 11. And then turn 12, another 90-degree left-hander right at the top of the hill. This is pretty much the highest point on the track now as he comes now through the kink at turns 13 and 14. And then through turn 15. The flame towers again just off to the right-hand side there. And Kaz running down towards turn 15, very tricky braking zone, even in the dry, clips the wall. Was that a right side end plate I saw go? I think he's actually got away with that as he comes now through the middle sector. 127.6 for Kaz as Pedro again has joined the session. Now through the final couple of corners, through 17, then through the kinks at 18 and then 19. Having to back off, coming through turn 18 there, now through 19, and then can run flat all the way to the line for turn 20. And now runs to the line. He's running low on fuel, so it is a good run from him. And Kaz is about to come into the pit lane. Terrible.
Well, I kind of expected that. He did collide with the wall with some force there, so not surprised really to see him make his way back in towards the pit lane. What we will say though is that it is Volo Konkin who has set the first lap time of this session. 52.8 from the TNL car, with the CPI car, the lone CPI car of Bullet Boy on a 53.1. Kazizzle there really sizzling with a 151.5 from him so far in this session, as he is one of the Leonis cars, I believe, out there. As I'm going to be instantly corrected there, aren't I? Yes, I am. He's actually with the FRL sports car. So I'm yet to see, of course, the Leonis car. It's obviously a month before you see these liveries again. They're just out for display, just that really quick display, as Adair makes his way in towards second place, 52.6. Slayer now up the order, 52.2 from Slayer. That puts him now in the lead TTG Esports car into second place. Nathan there, 53.0. We've also got Amazing Hour, 52.9 for the Leonis team. And Anderoa, sorry, my apologies, finishing in 9th place at the moment, 54.7. Kaiser in the top 10, but runs wide at turn 1.
Yeah, Andres coming across the line as well, 156.9. Disappointing from the first S2V man out on track. Oscar Marino is in the pit lane, so he's not in the lap yet. Pedro is having a few struggles trying to join up the session. I'm running board though with Harry, who's a debutant here for Leonis, and there is the difference between Kazizel's car and Harry's car. It's running red and white. It's the colours of Sunderland out on track for Harry as he now comes through the middle sector. Not looking too bad, actually, in terms of the middle sector. 126.6, actually, as he now comes through turn 16, 17, and then flies through 18 and 19. Expect him to be there or thereabouts in terms of his teammate, I think.
Well, they're making their way towards the line now. Watch out as well for Harry B as he makes his way on towards that long start-finish straight. And as we see, cars now making their way towards the line. Where is Harry going to finish on this lap in these treacherous conditions? It's going to be a 52.5, which puts him onto the second row of the grid as Pedro tries once again to join into the session. Not looking great though for Pedro. Hopefully his internet is able to hold for one of the GTZ Bulls cars. Amazing Hour for the Leonis team now gets onto that first row of the grid with a 52.1, but he's quickly dethroned by Adair, who is putting it onto a 151.7, now onto that front row of the grid. Michalizzi has now joined onto the track. He's now making his way in towards turn 7, locking up big time there. That kind of explains to me and sort of deciphers for me that lots of drivers will be running a dry setup, because you can see the lack of grip that Michalizzi has as he tries to tiptoe his way all the way through that castle section, now going across this crest as we now make our way through 13, through 14, and then towards that left-hander of turn 15 as you now have to brake hard here. I just did see a little bit of blue sky up there. Hopefully this rain does clear. Maybe we get some dry running towards the end of this session. As it stands though, it is still chucking it down out there. Michalizzi setting a good sector 2 time, but now he's got to try and finish it off. Good exit needed out of 16 as you fly through 17, through 18, through 19, as you try and hold onto the car, but the back end really did step out on Michalizzi there. Kissed the wall at turn 19 and manages to keep it going again, but he'll lose a lot of momentum. Then Slayer, 50.9 from the TTG man, puts himself now at the top of the table, so conditions are improving out there. Michalizzi, even with that moment, puts himself 6th place, 52.5.
Yeah, Kaz is on the lap as well, 40 flat through the first sector for the Team Mentalism car. Slayer out on top though, 50.9 is the first one to break into the 50s. The track will evolve, I think, during this session. Don't be surprised if you might see it turning in towards the dry tyres. In fact, the rain looks quite light now coming through the castle section. As Kaz through 8, 9, 10, very close to the wall there, coming through 9, then through 11, and then through 12. Looking very good. I'll keep on board with this one.
Well, Dantas, meanwhile, is one of the GTZ Bulls car. He's now making his way onwards towards turn 3. We're hoping Pedro is able to keep on with this one. He's joined back in, so he made it out onto circuit before disconnecting, but honestly, it's not looking great for him at the moment. His teammate Dantas, though, making his way through turn 3, now on towards turn 4, really is tiptoeing his way through. You see a lot of people locking up those front tyres there as they try and slow these cars down. Again, that's a huge giveaway that these drivers are running dry setups on an intermediately wet track.
Kaz has absolutely flown through turns 18 and 19. Now that was so quick, he didn't even flat out. This is a really good lap actually from Kaz as he comes towards the line. He'll go second, I think, across the line. No, James is wrong. He's nowhere near. He's 6th, 52.1.
Well, here is Marino now making his way in towards turn 15, clouting that curve on the left-hand side, as trying to make that corner as short as possible, trying to prioritise the exit of the corner. Now in towards turn 16. Now this is where you really need to hit the apex, because once you're out of here, 16 is the last braking zone on the circuit, as you now make your way through 17, through 18, through 19, and then we come towards turn 20. You see Oscar Marino there having to back out of the throttle very, very slightly. You could hear that there as he now makes his way all the way down that 1.5 kilometre bit of straight road, keeping that steering wheel as straight as he possibly can. He crosses the line there, 4th place for the S2V man, 51.8, puts him onto that second row of the grid.
Yeah, S2V really struggling so far. Andres down in 15th, Oscar Marino in 4th currently. These guys obviously, I think, have practiced for the dries rather than the wet. Dantas is about to come across the line as well, and he's going to go, I think, ahead of Kaiser. Yeah, 54.4 for him, and he goes now into 14th position out on track. Ruben has just started off a lap as well for F1 Friends Cup, and he's 41.5, I think, through the first sector. So a little way off where we would expect, but he at least can get a lap in.
I mean, driving in the dry here in Baku is tough enough, but you add some water to the mix, that's just going to be even more of a challenge as Adair now makes his way in towards to the pit lane. Third place so far for him, 151.7 for the CGT team. That is, of course, the Customs Exilium GT team.
Yeah, Ruben's just made a mistake coming through turn 12. He lets the car through, which I think is Kazizel on an outlap, if I'm not mistaken. So Ruben has backed out of this one. Wouldn't be surprised if he comes back in the pit lane, actually.
Here comes the mentalism car, though, of Kaz as he makes his way towards that start-finish line. Just trying to keep that steering wheel as straight as he possibly can. Crossing the line, then second place, 51.4 then from the team mentalism car. And at the moment, then, Slayer's time of a 50.9 is looking more and more often just a massive, fantastic time at the moment.
Fantastic time from Slayer, and Slayer was brought in to TTG to really put the cat amongst the pigeons, and he's gonna be one of the leading lights, I think, in TTG Esports. He's currently showing why. He's 0.5 of a second ahead of Kaz. Kazizel, though, has just gone quicker. 50.9, apparently. He was shown as an outlap on my end, but Kazizel goes quickest.
Well,
don't know how that works.
That was literally under the radar then, wasn't it? As he now sets a 50.9. It just shows you that once you get tuned into this circuit, those 50s are possible. As you can see there, riding on board with Volokongan, two drivers trying to get out of the way, well out of the way, on the inside just before turn 2. And of course, you've got 6 kilometres, just over 6 kilometres of track to choose from here. And of course, it is so still easy to come across a car on your flying lap, as Volokongan there running a little bit of a different livery to what the TNR drivers, I think, are running, but nonetheless he's still running in it as he makes his way around. Yonis at the moment, we're expecting the 2 lap times from Pedrao and Yonis at the moment, but unfortunately for Pedrao, looks like he's having those internet issues. He's still ghosting as he makes his way around the track, so Yonis is making his way around turn 16, flicking out the back end as he does, as he makes his way now all the way through. And of course, when you're driving in the dry, this is normally flat out. You want to be trying to get the quickest line through there without taking your foot off the throttle. Of course, in these wet conditions, these treacherous conditions, you'll see that the drivers do lift off. They do not want to go full throttle all the way through there. Yonis, I think, will just be trying to get to the line to set a time on the board, which he does, 56.2, which won't be a representative lap, but it is now a lap time on the board for him.
It is a lap time on the board. There's a yellow flag actually out on track, and it's Dantas that has pulled off to the side. He's got left side and pit damage coming through turn 4. Didn't see what happened, but looks like he's clouded the wall on a down lap by the looks. I was on board with Bullet Boy at the time. A good first sector from him. And Bullet Boy looks like he's going quite quick. Just saying that, though. He's clipped the wall coming out of turn 7. Luckily, I think that front wing still remains intact. But he's got to be very, very careful. He doesn't want to hit the wall. No,
absolutely not. Amazing Hour, I think, is going to come back into the pit lane. He was about 0.3 off of his best lap time going through sector 2, and he has exactly just done that. Bullet Boy, though, meanwhile, is 0.7 up on his previous best. The lone CPI car out there is... Oh, he runs deep into 15. That's exactly what can happen if you leave your braking slightly too late. Didn't clout that curb like he wanted it to, and unfortunately, it's cost his front wing.
He's still 0.6 up, though. He could still go for a valid lap and try and improve. But I think best thing is probably to come into the pit lane. 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. He'll only get one more chance. Yeah, he will. I think he's going to prioritise getting back to the pit lane and setting a lap time in a healthy car. But let's have a look then. Riding aboard with Bullet Boy, what does the CPI man do? Does he go into the pits? Yes, he does. He decides eventually to come into the pits there, playing it fine with that pit entry wall. That was very brave. That's braver than I would have taken it, for sure. Andres really flying through the castle section there, coming through turn 12, and now the Spaniard running down the hill through 13, through 14, and now through 15. This is not looking like a bad lap at all from Andres. This is going to be one of the quickest middle sectors that I've seen all night. Andres is up on his time by 5.9 seconds. 5.9 seconds is going to put him right in the mix, probably a 10th off the top 2.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on him, James, as he heads towards the line.
Oh, really wide, coming through turn 19. trying to commit as much as possible. Andres now towards the line. Can he defeat Kazizel and Slayer? Has he found the time in this final sector? It's going to be quite close. I think he might just have it, you know. Andres across the line. Oh, he has it all right. It's by 0.2 of a second. And the S2V, man, we were worried about these guys, thinking they hadn't practiced, and then they come and do a lap and go 0.2 quicker than Kazizel in second.
Well, that's a great lap from Andres, then sets the marker down. Oh, that's Anderoa who's hit the wall on the exit of 15. He'll have to keep going now. He's got no more time to come back to the pit lane. He was about 0.8 up.
And Oscar Marino went behind him, actually. In behind Jonas, I should say. He's just hit the wall coming out of turn 4. He was on a good lap as well.
Well, here comes Anderoa then as he makes his way through with a little bit less of front wing, I would assume. With the way he hit that wall on the right-hand side on the exit of 15, you would assume he has some sort of damage, but he'll now make his way towards the line. Surely he's got to finish this lap now, no matter what. He heads towards the line in that Customs Exilium GT car. He goes 100th faster. He has to go again. He's got less of a front wing on the right-hand side, but he's going to have to go for it again.
He does have to go for it again. 1 minute and 40 seconds left out on track. Andres currently out on top. Kazizel second. Slayer just about to start up on a proper lap here, weaving to try and get heat into the tyres, running down towards turn 1. I'll keep an eye on him. He's just missed the apex though, coming through turn 1.
Johan as well in the Mentalism car, 6th place right now, looking to try and take away that pole position at this moment in time. Andres, though, obviously in mode 0. He's right behind Nathan right now as he heads his way towards turn 15. But at the moment, he's just happy to keep it back right now. Maybe he'll use a little bit of slipstream down the start-finish straight. But look who it is. It's his teammate as well in Oscar Marino right behind as well. Maybe a little bit of team play going on here. In the meantime, Andres, the current pole sitter, on a 50.7, looking to ever extend his lead. But at the moment, he's backing out of it right now. I wonder if he's trying to back out so that Oscar Marino can get a little bit of a tow.
Slayer's 5/10 down through the first sector. Don't think he's going to improve unless he sets a miracle middle sector and a final sector. I don't think this is going to be a big improvement at all.
Well, here they come the S2V cars across the line with a handful of seconds to go. Let's just have a look then. Yeah, Andres is going to be there for a little bit of a slipstream for Marino.
Johan's crash coming through the castle section just in front of Slayer there. So Johan pretty much blocking the road coming through the castle section. J turned quite literally. If my name was written in the castle section, it would have the letter J there, quite literally.
Well, here comes Marina then, using a little bit of slipstream from his teammate on the run up towards turn 3, using any advantage that they can possibly have. Andres has given up his final run to try and defend that pole position time, to try and help out his teammate Marino, who is in 9th place right now as he makes his way through turn 4. And of course, coming into 5 and 6, that's where that sector line is as we head towards the checkered flag.
Nathan, a 10th up through the first sector, one of the fastest first sectors I've seen all night. He'll be on for a good lap here. I'll keep on board with him.
Well, Kazizel has got a bit of front wing damage as well on the right-hand side. Slayer, though, 50.6 then from Slayer. Puts himself now at the top of the table at this moment in time. Kazizel, meanwhile, with a damaged front wing, still trying to go through there full throttle. Fair play to him. He's got his foot in, if in doubt, flat out, as he now makes his way towards the start-finish line to try and finish off this lap. Currently in 3rd place. It's a long, long time before you get to find out how well you've done on the lap. He heads towards the checker flag and out-qualifies Andres. Up into 2nd place he goes. Great job from the Kazizel man. Meanwhile, Kaz for Team Mentalism across the line, 0.2 quicker, but no improvement in his track position. Harry, meanwhile, is on a flying lap. He's making his way now towards turn 15. Andres, you can see there, who had pole position at one point, has to retire and settle for 3rd place at this moment in time. Harry, meanwhile, is getting a little bit all out of shape on the exit of 15. He now makes his way through 16, and he might have cost himself a little bit of a good lap. Yeah, he spins up the rear tyres there, and that will be that lap over and done with, I'm afraid. Volokongan had an incident at turn 15, finishes the session at least without a front wing. Oscar Marino invalidated his lap time and will start all the way down the field. Amazing hour across the line. He'll finish in 4th place then for the Leones team and puts themselves onto the 2nd row of the grid. Bullet Boy up into 8th place there. Not a bad lap time at all from the CPI driver, the lone CPI driver, I should say. But Slayer picked up where he left off earlier on in this session. 50.601 for Slayer. For Kazizel, 50.694. What a great qualifying session, and it's Slayer who's come out on top.
A 10.5 of a second separating the top 4 out on track. Slayer beating Kazizel, Andres in 3rd, Amazing Hour in 4th. This wet qualifying session, this intermediate qualifying session has really put the cat amongst the pigeons. It's anybody's game.
It really is, and Slayer will take pole position for the TTG Esports team, who find themselves in second place in the championship, heading their way into this race. So it is Slayer on pole position for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Kazizel there in second place. Great lap time from Kazizel in the FRL Esports team. Andres for S2V in third. For Leonis, it's Amazing Hour. Then it's Adair, Nathan, Kaz, Bullet Boy Harry, Johan, Volakongan, Oscar Marino, Andaroa, Mikalitsi, Yonis, Ruben, Kaiser, Dantas and Pedro didn't set a lap time, although Mikalitsi has a 5-place grid penalty, so he'll be starting from the back of the grid.
Yeah, he's starting down in 19th. That was, I think, with a collision with Ruben, if I'm not mistaken, earlier on in the session. So Tionas, Ruben, Kaiser, Dantas and Pedro, if he's there, is going to be joining in. Hopefully we don't get a sense of deja vu from League One, where they had to restart 3 times. Yes, 3 times before they actually got underway. Just thinking with Pedro rejoining and leaving again, it could cause a few issues, but we'll see.
Well, Amazing Al was saying there in the chat that the grip difference on that last lap was insane. So time was definitely there to be found on that final lap. Conti in the chat there, basically bringing on his TTG crew out there. He's saying got all the support for them. Meanwhile, the crew is pushing on his teammates there, Andrew and Harry, for Leonis. Looking good for them at the moment. Can they capitalise on their form, on their recent form, I should say. Pedro has once again joined into the session, but looking at qualifying, it's not looking good for one of the GTZ cars.
It isn't, and obviously CPI are down 1 driver as well. The other driver, I know there's a comment there in the comment section as well, FRL are represented by Mikalitsi. Mikalitsi is their reserve driver. Kazizel is their other driver. So FRL are up 2 drivers. CPI, only Bullet Boy, Connor and Lewis couldn't make it. So they're down a driver as well. And Pedro, I can't see his name there on the right-hand side, which means I don't think he can get that car in. So that might be a shame for the GTS boys.
Well, that is unfortunate as well, because they did have a reserve driver in, I believe that was Chris Rock as their reserve. Just looking down at the entry list there, of course, you are allowed to put a reserve driver down there. All of the teams did put a reserve driver down, apart from S2V. They were pretty confident that both their drivers were going to start this race, and both of them are going to start. One of them is Andres, starting in 3rd place. The other one is Oscar Marino, who starts down in 12th. And this is where that alternate point scoring system comes into play, doesn't it, James? It's one of those races where you need your teammate to score just about as many points as you do. You do, and every team is going to be in the same position out on track. It's going to be fascinating looking at the strategy still. We've got a right mix of colours across the field. Volakongan is the exception rather than the rule throughout the field. He's starting in 11th. Because there was a wet compound, intermediate compound session in qualifying, that means these guys can start on whatever tyre they like. They're literally fresh right from the outset. Volakongan on a set of softs there in 11th position. Now he's going to be trying to make way up through the field. Apparently it says he's on a hard compound of strategy. That is wrong. Lap 18 to 21 is not where he's going to go on that tyres. He will go to about lap 8, lap 9 I think. He will try and get ahead of Johan, Harry, Bullet Boy, the likes ahead. Most of the field, though, seem to have gone for the hard compounded tyres, and they, I think, are going to be going to around, what, lap 18, 19, possibly, before they fit in? It's going to be a difficult one for the hard tyre runners, because they'll want to try and make use of those medium tyres going into the race. So don't be surprised to see them come in around about the halfway mark, maybe around about lap 14 possibly. The predicted pit stop strategy here for Nathan is for him to pit in on lap 18 and go onto the soft tyres. I can't see that happening, to be honest with you. I think the more likely strategy is lap 14. You really don't want to run on these hard tyres for longer than you have to. And if there's a chance that they can pit in around about the halfway mark, they'll go onto those medium tyres because they prefer them. They're a better race tyre than the hards. But for Volakongan here, well, it seems like the world is his oyster. He's made it perfectly clear. He wants to get his way up the order and worry about track position later on. He's going for a more aggressive strategy around a track that you can actually overtake at. Once you've got the DRS online, it is one of those tracks you can make a move at, here or there. So this might not actually be too bad to start with. What the question will be is, what tyre does he then go on to? Does he go onto a set of hard to get himself to the end of the race, or does he dare attempt a 2-stop?
He could go set of mediums, to be honest, but I don't think the mediums will last towards the end of the race. If he can get to around lap 10, he might have a shout of getting those mediums towards the end of the race. I've seen it done before, 15, 16 laps on the set of mediums. But it's going to be fascinating. We've got the final drivers now coming down the straight to join up on the grid. I can see Pedro's car there, so Pedro can join in, but could cause a few issues with his car actually being there out on track. I know Vapor King in League One was causing a few issues. I'm going to quickly hand you over to Kieran, though, for the start. My top three is Amazing Hour for the win, Slayer for second, and Nathan for third.
Well, here we go then for the fourth round of Esports Masters League with Slayer on pole position for TTG. But of course, it's a team event, so everybody has to play their part for the race as we now count up to the start of this race. It is 5 red lights. And we're racing in Baku. Great start from Slayer. Look at the background as well. That's Slayer trying to get the move on. Nathan's got a fantastic start off the line then as we make our way, diving our way in towards turn 1 for the very first time in this race. Looking at the back of the field then, everybody looks like they've got through turn 1. Absolutely spot on. Now turn 2 approaches and we've seen cars go side by side through there before and met the bitter end and the bitter wall. But Slayer manages to come out on top for now. He got a great start. Nathan, his teammate, meanwhile, went from 8th to 4th on that first lap. Brilliant start from Nathan. He just seemed to get straight out of the blocks.
Oscar Marino's down the inside of Androa. Don't know where these guys are fighting for in position, but Oscar Marino's trying to go around the outside on a set of mediums. He's actually got the move done through turn 4, right around the outside. Fantastic stuff from the Spaniard. He is now through. The graphics will fix themselves. It is not Ruben who leads, and that is pretty much right. Oscar Marino goes up into 12th.
Yeah, Volokongan and Kaz battling away for position just before they headed in towards turn 7. Luckily, no one managing to go side by side just yet going in towards turn 7. No one's crazy enough for that one. And there's that 7.6 metre wide castle section, which will be willing and ready and waiting to catch up anybody who's caught napping at the wheel. You can see that the stand is going absolutely mental. We're not even into the first lap of the race. Calm it down, standings. Calm it down. There we go. We can head our way back to the race, hopefully very, very soon. But Slayer, at this moment in time, does lead the way. But we're seeing moves up and down the order here. Just trying to find those moves out there is difficult in itself. Harry B trying to go around the outside of one of the mentalism cards there.
Yeah, Johan was trying to go down the inside of him, actually. Harry there in 10. Oscar Marino was trying to go around on the outside. He's got the pressure compounder tyres, actually, on a set of mediums. I think Kazizel, though, was challenging Slay for the lead, if I'm not mistaken.
He is indeed. Got that ERS. He's now disabled that ERS. As you know, can make our way down in towards turn 1. Then Slayer still leads this race ahead of Kazizel. But Kazizel going side by side. Medium tyres versus the hards. Kazizel up the inside in towards turn 2. He's got that move done. No DRS needed. Thank you very much.
Androa's down the inside as well. He's into the wall coming through turn 2. And that puts an end to his race. He tried to go for the move. Oscar Marino ran wide coming through turn 1. And Andrea has tried to go down the inside. And no room at the end, I'm afraid. He goes straight into the wall. Totally and utterly messed it up. And Oscar Marino's now back through position. And also, Androa has dropped well on the field. I think he's now third off second last now. Yeah,
unfortunate there, but hopefully these standings, they normally rectify themselves on the third lap of this race. It's a bit crazy to start with, for sure. Meanwhile, Volokongan is on the back of Amazing Hour as they now try and make their way in towards that castle section once again, riding on board with a TNR driver as he now makes his way through 8, through 9, through 10, through 11, trying to make your way through there. He's had a good start, hasn't he? On those soft tyres, he's made that aggressive strategy work. We've got yellow flags in sector 2. Someone's been caught out of the castle section, have they?
Dantas through the castle section. I think he's clipped the right-hand side wall. I'll just see if he's got end plate damage. Yes, right side end plate damage. He's obviously clipped the wall. Nathan is right on the back, actually, of Volokongan, I believe. Volokongan in 5th. He's really gained the ground, though, and he's right on the back of Amazing Hour. Amazing Hour under a hell of a lot of pressure here. Amazing Hour 4th, Volokongan in 5th. Look at how the softs, though, are maintaining that strategy. He could have 2 for 1 down the straight here.
He might do, but we were going side by side right now as we make our way down that long start-finish straight, and he's got that extra toe from the S2V car. Ahead of him has Volokongan. He's going to use that to great effect, heading his way now down in towards turn 1. Another position gain for the TNR car. Now the standings will have rectified themselves. It is Kazizel on top, Slayer second. Andres, you're watching there, going through turn 2, is in 3rd place. Volokongan in 4th. Amazing Hour in 5th. Nathan, who got a great start up to 4th at one point, has now fallen back down to 6th place at this moment in time. Kaz in the Mentalism car is in 7th place with Adair in 8th. It's Bullet Boy 9th. Harry rounding out the top 10. Johan in 11th place, Marino in 12th, with Jonas in 13th, Ruben 14th, Michelizi 15th, who did disconnect from the very first couple of laps in this race. Very unfortunate for him, but he is back in the car and currently in 15th place. Kaiser 16th, with Pedro constantly having those internet issues. He's currently in control. No, he's not. He's not in control of that car at the moment. Currently running in 17th. Anderoa and Dantas both into the pit lane to make a stop and possibly get some damage repaired.
Yep, damage repairs for them both. Androa is coming out in 18th, Dantas in 19th, about 5 seconds separating. Johan is right on the back of Harry, now coming through the castle section. As Bullet Boy looks like he could be desyncing out of the session. He's just lagging about quite a lot. Johan right on the back of Harry to try and get the move done down the hill and towards 10-15, but you're going to be an absolute brave man. You're going to be a madman, to be honest, to try and go for the move here. And Johan sticks in behind Harry, clips the curb, and Oscar Marino now right on the back of him for 12.
He is indeed. Meanwhile, Kaz as well now on the back of Nathan. There's lots of battles to be looking at up and down the field at the moment, but Kaz right now looks in prime position to take 6th place away from Nathan. The Mentalism car might have a little bit of DRS as well as we head our way now down that start-finish straight. He will, you know, he's got that DRS available. He now uses it to try and make his way past, and look at that, with that DRS, moves to the left-hand side of the track and makes light work of Nathan heading up in towards turn 1. He's got that position, Kaz, up to 6th place.
Oscar Marino's down the inside of Johan as well. This is P11 out on track. Oh, gets half spinning coming out of turn 1. Ruben's right on the back of Michelizi as well. But Oscar Marino, surely he's got to give way Johan, and he does. Oscar Marino signs, seals and delivers it. He is through and he's up into 11th position. More points gained for STV. Yeah,
at this moment in time, of course, you do need both of your teammates getting those good points positions up and down the order. And, of course, it's all about making it to the checkered flag as well. That's a huge and important factor coming into these Esports Masters League races. Yes, you can grab the race win if you really want to, but, of course, your whole team depends on you getting to the checkered flag. Adair gets his way past Nathan in towards turn 5. Nice move, it looked like, from that resulting camera angle. And the CGT car is now up into 7th place. Now, we do talk about the custom Exilium's GT. Oh, we got someone in the wall. It's Kaz. Kaz has gone straight on. Virtual safety car deployed straight away. He's still in this race, but he just locked a wheel, locked a brake, went straight on.
Leclerc 2019 qualifying, that's all I can really say on that. Kaz went straight into the wall. So unfortunate. I was running on board, I think, with Harry at that time, if I'm not mistaken, and Kaz now drops behind his teammate Johan. And Mentalism have got to find something out the bag here. He's got no front wing at all. And the VSC has suddenly just ended, and Michelizi's right on the back of Tionas, just in behind.
Yeah, and of course that debris will have to have been cleared up, and that was just a brief pause for the drivers to try and recharge their batteries. They didn't have long at all to try and recharge them, and so Bullet Boy here has maybe a chance to get up onto the back of Nathan. Andres as well, meanwhile, is looking to go side by side. In fact, Slayer's into the pits very early on in this race. Now, what's going on at the TTG team, James?
Let's have a look. He comes into the pit lane. I don't think he's got any front wing damage, if I'm not mistaken. Goes on to a set of mediums. Oh, there is front wing. White side end plate damage, I think, for Slayer. And he must have caught that through the castle section. Amazing hours right on the back of Olakongan.
Yeah, amazing hour onto the left-hand side of him, getting on towards turn 3. Still got the inside line. Oh, he has to slow it down, but he's now in contact with Andres, going in towards turn 4. And Andres finds himself now into the wall. No virtual safety car this time around, and he almost comes out and rejoins in front of his teammate. But I tell you what, Andres will not like that one bit. Gets a little bit of a tap from Bullet Boy there, but that was a little bit of understeer going into there. But now going side by side with Johan here, I think Andres has to admit defeat. He's got front wing damage, and that collision with himself and Adair, that was just Adair who couldn't stop that car in time.
Such a shame for Andres. Another one for STV. Falling by the wayside. His teammate Oscar Marino is now up into 7th ahead of Bullet Boy just ahead. Bullet Boy doing well. Oh, and as soon as I say that, that's a commentator's curse and a half as he just crashed coming through the castle section. Yeah, commentator's curse, another virtual safety car, no doubt, to clear up that debris. And of course, the drivers have to keep to that delta going all the way through this lap time here. If you exceed that delta without getting to that time limit of getting back down under speed, or if you basically
try and speed, and you're below the delta time when the virtual safety car is then undeployed, if you like. If it's brought in, then that is it's a drive-through penalty. But Andres here, right on the back of Bullet Boy, this gives him a little bit of breathing space now. He can try and take this high-speed section a little bit slower, because you look at the amount of grip he doesn't have. Bullet Boy as well, in a very similar scenario. They're both trying to make their way now down towards the pit lane. Volokonga, though, who's on those soft tyres, is coming into the pit lane. Hard tyres are at the ready.
Hard tyres are at the ready, and that'll be him, I think, going to the end of the race. No front wing change from him, and the TNR man is out, and essentially he could get a free pit stop over some of these guys. Mikalitsi and Tionis are coming past camera position as well. I think they're going to be just ahead, so Volokongan, I think, is going to come in behind, right in front, maybe, of his teammate, which is going to be the most ideal scenario you could be in. Having your teammate right in behind you, they can defend off Ruben in behind. Perfect.
Yes, and of course, that means Volokonga then now onto the hard tyres. 21 laps on a set of hards. Well, it's been mad before, but it has been done. Nathan running deep in towards turn 4 there. Harry says, thank you very much, I'll take that away from you, in towards turn 5. He's got that move done, and Nathan finds himself down a position there. Oscar Marino looking to try and pick up the scraps as well as we head our way in towards turn 7. He thinks about a move, but I think he was just trying to fill the mirrors of the TTG car ahead of him as we now head in towards that castle section. It's all about keeping it clean through that 7.6 metre wide gap. You've really got to find your gap and stick to it and hope that you don't clout the wall on the way through. Lovely shot from the helicopter camera, at least from my angle, of Oscar Marino now making his way between the old and the new town of Baku, heading our way towards turn 15. But Nathan runs deep, hits the wall there on the right-hand side. And for TTG, it's going from bad to worse, because Marino's now up the inside in towards 16. He's got that position. And Nathan, who's on the hard tyres, has now got half a front wing on his car. When he wanted to do a long stint into this race, he's not going to do it anymore.
Slayer's just got an absolute unreal move, but he hasn't. He's gone down the inside of Ruben Teve, and so unfortunate. Slayer tried to go for the move. That gap is always going to close. I'm not sure what he was thinking, to be honest. He's now lost the position to Kaiser. Johan now is through on Nathan, and Slayer is now coming back at Kaiser as we run now down the straight. The two FFC cars are just ahead of the TTG man. He's recovering well, actually, from that front wing change, but he's back into the pit lane again.
Unfortunate there. Johan, meanwhile, trying to close in on Oscar Marino ahead of him as we now head our way up towards turn 3. But a good start so far from the F1 Friends Cup cars. Ruben and Kaiser find themselves 10th and 11th so far in this race.
Fantastic stuff. And here comes Kaiser. He's going to sail past his teammate. Kaiser now through, and he's up into 10th position. Ruben Teve just getting out the way. Kaiser now probably on fresher tyres, to be honest. And he feels he's the quicker car. Bullet Boy and Nathan are side by side, and Bullet Boy sails past Nathan, coming down towards turn 3. And that jumping about car is a bit of an alien out there out on track, but the CPI man is through, and he's up into 13th. Easy move on Nathan.
Well, I have to say, the FRL team will be absolutely over the moon with Kazizel right now. He's topping the table at this moment in time, filling in, of course, for Terror Racer. Sorry, no, he's the permanent driver. It's actually Mikalitsi who's filling in for Terror Racer, who would normally be here tonight. Mikalitsi, remember, he disconnected from lap number 1, rejoined then halfway through it, and now is in 7th place. So for the FRL cars, they're having a whale of a time right now.
He is having a whale of a time out on track, but they've got to be careful, because there is a bit of a glitch on this game where if you join within the session, you might not pick up any penalties out on track. So that might be something that the stewards might take note of with them rejoining the session, because this will still lead. Amazing now, though, getting closed down by Adair. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. I think that's Slayer, is it, coming through? Or Dantas, it's Dantas coming through the castle section. He's crashed coming through turn 7, in fact. So that's actually just before. So I'm still on board with Adair, and Adair not close enough to the back of Amazing Hour.
Yeah, we've got Adair trying to hold on to this position ahead of the Leonis car of Harry B as we now make our way onwards towards turn 4 in this race. Sorry, turn 3 we're heading up to right now, as that was in the background. That is, of course, Harry Bank looking for a move up the inside, but of course just filling those mirrors right now of the custom Exilium car of Adair, making his way now all the way through. Meanwhile, his teammate Andero has just set the fastest lap of the race, 42.6. No point for the fastest lap of this race, of course, because every position scores a point, so it's a bit of a redundant point to give an extra one out to the fastest lap of this race. What I am noticing, though, is there's that Amazing Hour is that Leonis car got front wing damage? He has, on the right-hand side. So right now, that's why there's a little bit of a train coming behind him, and he's clouted the wall yet again.
Yeah, and it's going to do more damage to that right tail end plate if it wasn't gone. Now it has, and Oscar Marino right on the back of Harry Adair. Johan is not too far off these guys as well, so it's a 5-car train really developing from Amazing Hour all the way back. Michelizzi's 8.2 seconds behind, so it's not really going to impact on him to try and close up. But Kazizel, look at the gap. The more that Amazing Hour holds up as Harry gets sideways. Here comes Oscar Marino trying to go around the outside through 18 and 19. He better back off, and he does, and he comes through turns 18 and 19. We're going to have a free-for-all, I think, down the straight.
We are indeed. Meanwhile, Adair's looking to try and get past here. It looks like that Amazing Hour might come into the pit lane. Does he? Yes, he does. So we're going to be now all those cars having DRS down towards turn 1 now. Adair will just about hold on, but he's right in the firing line of Harry Bank, right behind him. Oscar Marino also in the mix, as well as the Mentalism car of Johan as we make our way in towards turn 2. We've got an instant at turn 3, and it's Dantas once again finding the wall. This Baku track is not treating him well at all, is it, right now, at this moment in time?
Nathan sailing past Bullet Boy as well down the straight. Oscar Marino still on the back of Harry, but Nathan through and he's up into 13th position. And in fact, he could be up into 12th because Nathan's right on the back of Amazing Hour coming out of the pit lane. Amazing Hour rejoins in front of him. Bullet Boy nearly lagged in front of him now as well. The only penalty so far to report, 5 seconds for Kaz. He sped into the pit lane. That's the only penalty out on track. These guys, surprisingly, keeping it clean. No 3-second time penalties just yet.
Just yet, of course. We've still got quite a way to go. And as we know, Baku is one of those tracks where the track limits really are the walls themselves. There aren't many places that the stewards really get strict on those track limits, because the track limits just mean you hit the wall and that's really it. So there's really no need for them. The damage you get is the penalty. Oscar Marino trying to close in on Harry Bank as we now make our way in towards turn 15. And I think Harry Bank getting all over the curve there and just about tapping that wall. I think he's got away with that one scot-free as we head in towards 15 and 16. But that would have been a warning sign for Marino. Look at that. Harry Bank is now 1.1 seconds behind at this moment in time. And so this could be a move here for Marino coming up as we make our way in towards turn 20. Marino will have a little bit of DRS as well. The question is, will Harry Bank have a bit of DRS as well? No, he won't. Oscar Marino is going to be in that slipstream right now as we head our way down towards turn 1. Can he try and find the move? You can see Harry Bank using that ERS to good effect in towards turn 1. Locks up a little into 1. That could be a chance for Marino. Harry Bank goes defensive in towards turn 2. Marino trying to go around the outside in towards turn 2. Can't quite find that one. Sticking there. Meanwhile, Johan is trying to take full advantage. Now Harry Bank has to go defensive up the run towards turn 3. He's trying to defend the inside line. He's saying to Marino, you have to go the long way around, and Marino's taking him up on that invite there. So close to the wall. Millimetrically perfect there as Marino has to stay behind Harry Bank for another time being. But what great racing between those three.
Fantastic racing between them, and Adair is just holding these guys up slightly as well. Harry, Oscar Marino, Johan now latching onto the back. Bullet Boy, by the way, has made a mistake. He's left the session as well, coming through the castle section. Literally, the J turn must have been taking about a minute out on track, which is why I went off it. But he crashed coming through the castle section. Unfortunately for him, he's left the session. And unfortunately for him as well, no points for CPI as it currently stands because he's left the session. And of course, you have to be a human car to get the position as Nathan going through on Pedrao's AI for 12.
Oh, Marino's into the wall at 15. He's run deep and run into that wall. He's got front wing damage, and Johan streams his way through. And the S2V cars are struggling out here today. We had Andres getting caught up in an instant earlier on in this race. That was Marino running into the wall, and a bad day gets even worse for Marino right now. The question is, though, does he stay out on these sets of tyres? Does he just throw caution to the wind and carry on with his stint? Or does he pit in for a new set of tyres? He does the latter, pitting in for a new set of tyres right now. So surely this has to be hard tyres, and surely this has to be a move to try and get him to the end of the race, or at least the next safety car.
Speaking of moves, Amazing Hours just got Ruben coming through turn 19 and through 20. Nathan is closing on these guys as well. It could be 3 wide running down the straight. Nathan has got a tremendous closing speed on Ruben. Can he get the move done? Down the inside and towards turn 1. Yes, he can. You bet he can. Nathan is through and he's up into 10th position. And that was Ruben nearly running into the wall coming through turn 1. And he's now down into 11th. Andres right on the back of Pedro's AI. He goes through him. Now the SUV boys is technically 12th and 13th out on track. Still Kaz with that 5-second penalty as well. Slayer trying to close in on Andrea further down the field. That name is going to catch me out quite a few times.
Well, I tell you a name that's not going to catch you out. It's Harry Bank. He's trying to close in on the back of Adair once again as we now make our way through that 8, 9, 10 castle section.
Amazing. Now he's trying to go around the outside of turn 6. Brilliant stuff. Right on board with it. Amazing. Now around the outside on fresher tyres. Kaiser has now lost 2 positions as a result. And Nathan is also through. So amazing. Now we're up to 8th and Nathan up into 9th. I just about got the camera work there to get the move done.
Hopefully we'll see that back much more clearly on the replay as well. Harry Bank, though, has dropped a little bit from Adair in front of him just in this final sector, but he'll be hoping that he can use a little bit of DRS to bring him straight back into the action. Amazing Hour, his next target will be Yonis straight ahead of him, only a couple of tenths up the road. Andres, meanwhile, he rejoined on a set of medium tyres. Surely those tyres will not get him to the end of this race. He's looking to try and get past Ruben in the F1 Friends Cup car.
He will indeed, and Amazing Hour is on the back of Tionis. And this is for 7th for Nathan. Nathan there in 9th, our Friends Cup car. Of course, Ruben, Andres still trying to get through, but there is Amazing Hour absolutely sailing on by the TNR man. And again, Nathan with this closing speed, he's going to do one of them at least. Down the around the outside and towards turn 1. He sets a purple final sector, in fact. That's how quick he was. And Nathan is through and he's now into 8th position once again. So really good stuff out on track. Kazizzle, by the way, is just dominating that in front. 13.8 seconds. I said before we came live that he would be a one to watch. Yeah, but follow my predictions, honestly. Andres right on the back of Ruben. Can he try and get the move done? Down in towards turn 3. Yes, he can. The SUV man is through and he's up into 11th. And his teammates running behind as well, going for the move in towards turn 4. No, Ruben holds tight and holds sway and holds 12th. Kaz is now on the outside line. I'm still going to keep on going. Kaz on the inside line. He tries to go 2 for 1. Oh, he batters Ruben out of the way. Ruben has to cut across turn 6. And now Kaz will get through. Ruben has now been swamped. And there's a yellow flag in sector 2. Yeah,
and it's going to be one of the... trying to see who that was. I think it was Dantas. Yes, it was. He's either trying to get out of the way or made a mistake there, but I can't say for certain for the GTZ car. He'll just be looking to try and get to the end of this race. Kazizzle is into the pits then from the lead of this race, and this should be a move that gets him onto the hard tyres and sees him to the end of this race. In he stops, on go the white wall hard tyres, and away he will go once again. Now, the question is now, he will not rejoin in clear air, but where exactly will he rejoin?
Pretty much in clear air, to be honest. Oh. He's ahead, I think, of Dantas's AI car, if I'm not mistaken. So Kazizzle is out there now in P4. That is Dantas behind him, so he's joined in beautiful clear air. 2.4 seconds back to Johan. He's, 7 seconds ahead of Micheletti. Perfect. Absolutely perfect position. Kaiser is into the pit lane. Andres has just gone through. Oscar Marino has just gone through. And Slayer is side by side with Ruben down the inside in towards turn 1. And Slayer recovering well after his early hit with the walls twice. And Slayer's now through and he's up into the unlucky 13th position. Yeah, but he can make his way through the field.
Yeah, unlucky for some, of course, that 13th position. I think it's underrated, in all honesty. Meanwhile, Harry Bank is still trying to put the pressure on Adair. And, of course, the more these drivers put the pressure on each other, the more it allows Kazizzle to close in. Remember, he's only 2.5 seconds back from Johan ahead of him, which means the gap to him and the leader right now in Adair is around 3 seconds. It's about 3.2 seconds at this moment in time, which is astonishing considering what's happened here today.
And that's all because I think Adair held up all of the guys a couple of laps ago. And that's why Kazizzle has got away so dominantly out in front. And the FRO boys are going to be absolutely lapping this up. Micheletti's still yet to come into the pits. He's still on for a good result, though, because he'll be on fresher tyres towards the end of the race. But Kazizzle's just dominating out in front. The nearest challenger to him is Volokongan, and he's 9 seconds down. Yeah, that's how much of a gap that Kazizzle's got.
Yeah, and don't forget, Volokongan started this race on the soft tyres, so he really went aggressive for his first stint. But Harry is into the pits then. Early call there, as he now makes his way in towards that pit lane, slowing it down in time for the pit speed limit line. This will surely be a move to go onto a set of medium tyres, and we are just at that halfway point in this race. So, of course, it's the perfect time to put on a brand new set of medium tyres. Now, where does he rejoin? He'll rejoin back out on track. And where does he rejoin in terms of his teammate in Amazing Hour? He will rejoin ahead of him, surely. The two teammates will try and work together here. They're going side by side in towards turn 2. That's not on the script there, as Harry Bank has to concede that position for now. But he'll have a bit of DRS going up towards turn 3. No, he won't. Amazing Hour will have it on towards turn 3. So immediately then, Amazing Hour saying, no, you're not having that position. This is mine.
Yeah, Micheletti and Volokongan are still having that bit of a tirade, to be honest, in terms of the positions. I think Micheletti has now got that position if there's no glitch. Kaz is trying to go on the outside of turn 4. We saw him move with Andres down the inside and towards turn 1, getting the move done. He's now up into 8th position. And look what's now happening out on track. The sun is beginning to come out, so surely these mediums are going to operate at a much better temperature. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. And that, I think, is Nathan, who has just gone into the wall, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was Dantas getting out of the way. Ignore me.
Yeah, yellow flags just for Dantas, moving across the track to try and just give up some positions there. He is, of course, in 19th place, but that's still 2 points for GTZ, even if it's the worst race of your career. Still, getting to that finish line is all about scoring those vital points for your team. Adair has obviously been around for another lap. It's a 6-kilometre lap here before you're allowed to come back into the pits, but Adair and Johan are going to battle it out then for the lead of this race, going down in towards turn 1. The Mentalism car of Johan is up the inside, and about the custom Exilium car of Adair just about holds on to the lead of the race, then heading in towards turn 2. But the more these two battle, the more it invites Kazizel to try and get back up the order. Johan with that DRS, with that slipstream, heading up towards turn 3. Surely he's not going to go for a move here. No, he doesn't. He backs out of it. No move in towards turn 3 for him. But meanwhile, we've got Oscar Marino and Kaz going side by side. Kaz had to back out of that one.
No, Kaz actually got the move done, to be honest. Both of them actually got moves done. So Oscar Marino through up into 9th, Kaz up into 10, and Harry's just been let through by his teammates. So Harry now through and he's up into 6th position. Tionis had a little bit of an exit, a poor exit there. Now Slayer is through and he's up into 11th. Tionis hit. Simple as. Kaz nearly into the back of Oscar Marino.
Yeah, and as Johan tries to tiptoe his way all the way through the castle section.
Slayer is on the outside coming through turn 4. No way he can pull this one off. Kaz on the outside line now for turn 5 and 6. It's going to favour the brave, and Kaz is just about hanging on. They're still side by side, and they don't want to be like me and Honey Badger back in the day, coming through side by side towards turn 7. Somebody is going to have to back out, and Kaz has got the move done. Brilliant stuff. He fights back the position and he's back through and he's up into 10. That was unreal stuff.
Great stuff there. Great action from them just to keep it clean as well all the way through. Meanwhile, we're watching on as well, on my side at least, with Micheletti trying to hold off of Volokongan. Volokongan locks up going in towards 15, and Harry Bank on those medium tyres will have a little bit of DRS as well. And you can see he just pauses deployment of his ERS battery. Now he's looking for a move now up the inside going in towards 20, and now can he use that little bit of distant toe from Micheletti up ahead? Well, he's got past Volokongan heading down the straight here on those medium tyres. Harry Bank is now up into 5th place in this race. His next target will be Micheletti, who of course is on those 15-lap old medium tyres. He's been on those tyres since the start of this race, and remember, he disconnected on lap number 1.
Kaz was coming across there on Slayer's line, but Slayer is through and he's up into 10th. Kaz really goes into the back of him, coming through turn 1. Amazing now is fighting back though Volokongan. He's going to get the move done. Back down the inside he goes in towards turn 3. And Amazing Hour is through and he's up into 6th position. And now Slayer is up into 10th. Quite a few penalties beginning to wrap up out on track. There from my end is the update. 3 seconds for Slayer, 5 seconds for Kaz, 3 seconds for Ruben, 3 seconds for Dantas. Not many penalties though with 10 laps to go. I'm quite surprised. These guys have really kept it clean out on track.
Well, it's 11 laps to go, 10 and a bit if you're picky. Of course, here, as we're on lap number 16, Harry Bank is now trying to find a way past Micheletti. He's drawn him in now as we head in towards that castle section. So narrow through there. And you can see just by the rear tyres on that left-hand side wall, they come so close there as they now file their way through down in towards 14, then towards 15. as we now make our way towards that heavy braking zone. Harry Bank here getting close to that wall on the entry of the corner to try and find his way past. Meanwhile, we're jumping on board with this lead of the race. Johan is trying to find a way past Adair, but both of them I should say, have to pit in. So who's going to blink? Who will make that late decision? Neither of them, because here comes Johan now. He's looking for a move up the inside in towards turn 1. Once again, the Mentalism car's on the inside. Can he get that car slowed down in time? No, he can't. He has a little bit of wheel spin on the exit of 1, and once again Adair holds on, and huge frustration for Johan, but Adair runs into the wall on the exit of 2, and now that's going to be Kazizel, who's had the easiest move for second place in his life.
Amazing hours down the inside as well. Harry gets the move done on Michelizzi. Michelizzi's now falling by the wayside as Amazing Hours gets the move done down the inside and towards turn 2. Wasn't going to let that one go. Brilliant stuff once again. And Harry through up to 4th. Amazing Hour up into 5th. I was going to say there was going to be a bit of a problem between these two, because it looked like Amazing Hour just suddenly picked up the pace. And now Harry is up to 4th. He can drag his teammate with him.
He can indeed, and they're trying to work together now, at least in these late stages. We do have 10 laps to go, 9 and a bit if you're picky. Kazizel is 6/10 down on Johan right now. You can see him going in towards that castle section, and Johan still has to stop in this race. So at this moment in time, Kazizel will be leading the way.
Kaz having a bit of a moment coming out of turn 4. He's still on the back though of Slayer. These guys, of course, do have penalties. Kaz with 5 seconds, Slayer with 3. And Slayer has got essentially a 2-second advantage. Kaz, of course, that time will be added to the end of the race if he doesn't pit. But I think he might have to pit again. So I do not see those mediums getting towards the end. Michelizzi especially, he's on 16 lap-old mediums. He is still going to pit, and so is Pedro. Pedro's AI car is still going. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3, and is that Dantas again? It is.
Well, Kazizel, meanwhile, now on the back of the Mentalism car of Johan. I don't think Johan's going to put up too much of a fight here. Here comes Kazizel with that DRS wide open there, and Kazizel takes the race lead once again for the FRL Esports team. They now lead here at Baku in the form of Kazizel, and what a start. What a way to prove your worth here in front of all the other teams. Adair's into the pits. Ongo a set of soft tyres. It's going to be aggressive. Volokongan, meanwhile, is going side by side with another car.
Yeah, Volokongan around the outside of Michelizzi. A little bit of a change in direction there from them both. Slayer as well is down the inside of Oscar Marino. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. I think Dantas has retired into the pit lane. Soft compound of tyres apparently is the one for Slayer, as that is Adair coming out the pit lane just in behind Cass. As Oscar Marino, good speed. He was so close to the wall, he nearly clouted it on the left-hand side. But Slayer gets away with Oscar Marino. Dantas sadly out of the race, and that means GTZ are only relying on Pedro. They're not going to be picking up any points because that AI car is still going round out on track. Unbelievably in 12th position. He might get driver of the day at this race.
That is just how crazy this race has been, hasn't it? That's the epitome of it. But his AI car is yet to pit in this race, of course, on those hard tyres. So that's probably why he's staying all the way out there. He'll probably go onto the set of soft tyres, the AI car will, towards the end of this race. I can't blame Pedro for, stopping the attempts there, because it just didn't seem like it was going to work for him, unfortunately, tonight.
Just clicked with Johan as well. He's on a set of hards still, out on track. He's going to be coming out, I think, behind these guys, behind Adair and in front of Pedro. He's going to be on, though, a set of soft compounded tyres. Now, Adair is on a set of soft compounded tyres. He's right on the back of Kaz, but I don't think he's got those tyres up to temperature just yet. Expect him to pick up the pace in the next lap or two as Kaz clouts nearly into the wall. And Adair is going to hold on still for P11. But I think Adair is going to get this move done for sure.
Yellow flags in Sector 2, and that's one of the F1 Friends Cup cars, and that's Ruben who finds himself around. That's at turn 7, and he's just trying to desperately get that car turned around, and it's just a little bit of Austin Powers moment for him, isn't it, as he eventually rights the car the right way, and he's able to get going again.
Plays down the inside of Andres. He gets the move done. He's now up into 6th position. Michelizzi has finally came into the pit lane to pull on a set of soft compounded tyres, I would imagine. And Adair is also through on Kaz. Spills them in very easily indeed. But look at now, the cloud is beginning to build once again. So these softs that Adair and Michelizzi are now on, as Andrea actually is through on Nathan, I do believe, down the inside with Nathan coming into the pits. He's now up into 12th. But the cloud beginning to build. These set of softs are not going to run at the temperature that you would imagine out on track. It's surely going to favour the medium runners, because that cloud is building again quite quickly.
Yeah, and when it comes down to track temperature and canvas temperature and surface temperature and all those little temperature words we like to throw in there, of course it's going to have an effect on the tyres and the tyre wear as well. Meanwhile, Amazing Hour and Harry Bank are trying to work together once again. Third and fourth at the moment. They're one of the best teams out there, but Pedral has retired from this race then. Now, whereabouts is that? That's at turn 1. Sorry, turn 2, that is.
I thought it was an AI car.
Well, we thought wrong, James. We thought wrong. And unfortunately now, there is no chance of GTZ scoring any points. The 4th virtual safety car of the night is deployed. Still no physical safety car, at least. All the cars are keeping to a delta right now. But it gives us a chance to breathe, and it gives us a chance to see Johan entering the pit lane then. It's almost like he's waited for that virtual safety car. Deployed at the right time. Just as he's entering the pits, though, we go back under green flag racing.
Yeah, it's caught him out, I think, to be honest. If that VSE stayed out about 20 seconds longer, it would have been fine for him. It still should be fine. I'm watching on board with Andres, who's trying to close in on Slayer. He's going to be in amongst these guys. I think he's going to be out in front of these guys by quite a distance, in fact. He's just reaching the end of the pit lane now. Andres is now reaching turn 1 behind Slayer, and these guys hold on for those positions. Adair and Oscar Marino have now been welcomed into the pack, as Oscar Marino picked up a 3-second time penalty for running wide through turn 1.
Yeah, I have to say, the Leonis Esports cars are doing a superb job out there, a sublime job, running 2nd and 3rd. They are the top scoring team at this moment in time in this stage of the race, and of course 22 points plus 20 points is a very well deserved 42 points for the team right now. And going into it, obviously Leonis were 4th place at the moment. This latest result could take them into those triple figures, 122 as I make it. Another virtual safety car.
VSC. Another VSC. I don't know what this is for this time. Answers on a postcard. I don't know what that one's for.
No, I can't think of that one. However, another virtual safety car is deployed, so that's our 5th one of this race. Probably a bit of debris somewhere out there that the marshals want to get to.
Turn 2. I'm just wondering, Tionis might have hit the wall. Just seeing. No, it's not him. Kaiser, not him. Yeah, I don't know who it was.
Well, Johan's got himself a drive-through penalty for speeding under that virtual safety car. And this is what happens if your delta's in the red as the safety car ends. That virtual safety car ends, you get a drive-through penalty. There's nothing you can do about that one. So Johan, on the soft tyres, will have to serve that lap. Now, it is within the last 5 laps of the race, so he might be able to carry on, but he'll have to take a 30-second penalty at the end of this race. He's going all the way to the left-hand side. I think he's going to take the drive-through penalty.
Yeah,
yes,
I don't blame him, to be honest. Yeah, I don't blame him, to be honest, if he is. Adair is getting very close to the back of Oscar Marino. They're going to run side by side and pretty much in unison. If this was a final lap, it would be a photo finish, but Adair has got the legs down the inside line. But that is Oscar Marino trying to go right around the outside on the centre hard. Oh my goodness me. He has pulled that one off. Adair is still there. Oscar Marino, battle of the late breakers. He's into the wall. It was going to end in tears for one of them. And Adair is now through and he's up into 7th. Oscar Marino, right side end plate damage. He tried the impossible move. He nearly got it done. And there's another VSC out on track. Goodness me, we're going to be in double figures at this rate.
Yeah, and it's someone... Was that someone at turn 7 there? Turn 8? It was a white dot, a white blob on the mini-map there. So I wonder what that one was all about. Anyway, we are into our 6th virtual safety car of the race. Hopefully this isn't a common theme towards the checkered flag at least. But if it is, that means Kazez was in a great opportunity, a great chance here, because it can help him keep his tyres and keep that gap out to 11 seconds right now. And of course, the 2 Leonis Esports cars are doing a superb job, aren't they? All they've got to do now is, in this virtual safety car, keep to that delta. They do not want to drive through penalty at this stage in the race.
They're probably talking to each other at this stage. Amazing Hour, interestingly, is right now on the back of Harry. He'll probably drop off slightly and just maintain that position. They haven't picked up a drive-through penalty. Nobody has, and we're back underway. Kazizzle lead as we come on towards lap 22. 5 more laps to go, basically. Kazizzle leading, Harry in 2nd, Amazing Hour in 3rd position. There's not really much. I think the VSCs are really beginning to ruin the momentum that some of these guys are building up. I feel sorry for the likes of Johan, who just came out the pit lane from his VSC, from speeding under the safety car for his VSC. Michalizzi as well, and Adair I feel especially sorry for. He was on the back of Andres trying to get the move done, and now he's got to make that back up all over again. It's 7 seconds the gap. he gets back into rhythm, he could be top 5, no problem.
Yeah, Marino's actually into the pit lane then, so on those hard tyres, and he's obviously coming in to repair that damage that he's got, and he's picked up to the S2V car. So unfortunate, but this will be him in the pit lane to repair that damage. The plus side, though, is that he's got a set of soft tyres to use, and he'll use those to the end of the race to try and get himself as high up the order as he possibly can. Of course, remember, those are valuable points on the line. As long as he gets a couple of positions here and there, S2V can get themselves a healthy lead of points. But talk about healthy lead of points. Leonis, again, second and third place. Very comfortable advantage to Volokongan behind. And Volokongan, I have to say, started this race on the soft tyres, pitted very, very early on in this race. He has to do 21 laps on these hard tyres. He's getting closed in by Slayer, though, in the TTG car as they now make their way in towards that castle section. But if he can hold on to fourth place for as long as he can, that's worth an applause in itself.
I think Volokongan's probably done the best job out of everyone out on track. Slayer, I think, is in amongst that mould as well. But Volokongan, who pitted in very early on, I think it was lap 5 he pitted in that first VSC, he really took the bull by the horns, essentially, and pitted in very early indeed. He's in fourth position, he's been rewarded, but Slayer, if he didn't pit twice because of front wing damage, I think Slayer would have won this, I think, because the gap is about 22, 23 seconds. That's about a length of a pit stop around here. He's done 2 of them. So the amount of time that he's made up out on track is absolutely remarkable. Have a cold one on me, honestly. Here comes Adair, right on the back of Andres, and you can see where this one's going to go as Adair is through. A little bit of an immaturity there from them both. Adair is through, and he's up into 6th as Johan sets the fastest lap of the race, 140.6. Now that is a quick lap.
Yeah, I reckon the Leonis team manager at least will be absolutely biting his nails at this point because he does not want his team battling this late on in the race. Volokongan is only 12.8 behind, and that's a territory where you can make a mistake and can be punished for it. Although saying that, they are closing into the race leader with 4 laps to go, 3 and a bit if you're picky. 8.2 is the gap between Kazizel and Harry at this moment in time. And if you're wondering how this championship works, of course, well, we have this alternate point scoring strategy system where 25 points is awarded to the winner, 22 to second place, and all the way down to 20th scoring 1 point. It's a solely team event. There is no drivers' championship, so it doesn't matter who finishes second, third out of these two. It's that they finish second and third for Leonis, and that will get them 42 points in this race alone.
I believe these guys out on track as well are really doing a fantastic job. Just in terms of the consistency, CGT are well up there, I think, as well within the standings. They seem to be not there in terms of like the podium finishes. The Slayer completely cuts the back of 10-15 there, right on the back of Volokongan. But CGT have just landed themselves in that good position again. It's going to be quite close, I think. I think LR might decide to do them in terms of points, but remains to be seen. Adair right on the back, and Adair could be lining himself up for P4 position. The thing that I was going to say was that Adair has caught up. This has been quite favourable, this last VSE for him. This has been really favourable for him because Volokongan has came back for him, Slayer is coming back for him, and now Adair has got 2 cracks of the cherry with 3 laps to go. It can be done, but not like that. He just runs right through turn 1.
Yeah, even that braking a little bit too light, a little bit too excitable there. However, ooh, Slayer is right on the back as Johan and Andres.
Andres has got a puncture. Andres has got
surely
a puncture.
Not. He has. Rear right for Andres, and that's the worst place you can possibly get the puncture. He's got to do 5.5 kilometres on a car that will not even go in a straight line. And for S2V, a day goes from bad to worse to even worse. Of course, he's covered by the yellow flags there as he makes his way in towards turn 4. They really should be white flags warning drivers of a slower car up ahead, but the marshals have decided to throw the yellow flag instead. They consider it a hazard for the drivers going in towards turn 3. However, that's a huge shame. But looking around at the rest of the field, who else is on 17 lap old tyres? Well, for Slayer, that's only a lap away, you know.
Slayer's right on the back of Volokongan as well, and that yellow flag in sector 1 and 2 is for Andres. I think he's spun, actually, coming through turn 6, if I'm not mistaken. So that is now him going from bad to worse. Oscar Marino, his teammate, has just gone past as the yellow flag in sector 2. Andres, I think rightfully, he might give up, and he has, and such a shame for him out on track. That AI car is still going to go around out on track, even with that puncture, it will pit in. Kazizel leads, 6.6 seconds, the gap is closing. Harry and Amazing now are working away at that advantage. Andres' AI getting overtaken left, right and centre, but Slayer now has a crack at Volokongan. Adair, with 2 laps to go, has a crack potentially at both of them. Volokongan in 4th, Slayer 5th, Adair in 6th.
I think at this moment in time, people are going to be watching on at Slayer's tyres here, especially the rear ones, if the S2V cars are anything to go by, as he now makes his way in towards turn 1, right on the back of Volokongan, as we now make our way up towards turn 2, trying to turn in there, the TTG car right on the back of the TNR car, as we now make our way on towards that short straight towards turn 3. Obviously, those yellow flags are covering the S2V car, the now abandoned S2V car of Andres, as Slayer tries to slow the car down, but now will he try and move up the inside? Surely not in towards turn 4. No, he doesn't.
He got one around the outside there, coming through turn 4 early on in the race, so he is pushing these tyres, but Adair, on a set of soft compounded tyres, you can probably see where this one is going to go, to be honest, in terms of these guys out on track, because I think Volokongan and Slayer are going to battle. They're going to let Adair into play, and it's going to be 3 wide down the straight onto the final lap of the race. And in this position, you do not want to be the car that's leading. Volokongan, you do not want to be him.
No, absolutely not. But I think Slayer, there's that element, isn't there, to try and play it as fine and as close and as safe as you can. Kazizel, meanwhile, though, will round the final couple of corners to start the final lap very shortly.
Oscar Marino diving down the inside, caught that very late on, but he's through on Andrea, and he's through and he's up into 10th position. That was a dive bomb down the inside at luck from Oscar Marino. He is through and he's up into 10th. The C-Med out of the race pretty much. That AI car is still going round out on track. Johan has now suddenly joined in on the mix in terms of the guys ahead. There's a yellow flag in sectors 2 and 3. It's Andres once again. That AI car must be going around about 20 miles an hour.
Here comes Slayer on the back of Volokongan, looking for a move down in towards turn 1. There goes the TTG car up the inside of Volokongan, and he now moves ahead of the TNR car into 4th place. Now, can he hang on with those tyres intact? Kazizel, meanwhile, is still leading the way for FRL, and what a way to make your debut for FRL here in Esports Masters League. It's not been easy for him whatsoever. He started this race on the medium tyres, then switched over to the hards later on in the race, and has managed to get them all the way through. Of course, got a helping hand from the likes of Andreoa, and of course mainly of one of the other cars out there, just having that front wing damage and making it night work to try and get ahead, which is exactly what he's done. He's taken full advantage. It was Amazing Hour who had that front wing damage and managed to bunch up the field, so it allowed Kazizel to get away, but nothing will take away from this victory for sure, as he now makes his way all the way now down towards turn 16. Kazizel rounds that final braking point, and now it's all about keeping that car out of the wall for one final time, going through 17, through 18, through 19, and then through turn 20. Kazizel has now got that long 1.5 kilometres straight to get himself going again. Kazizel will come across the line to take the win here in Esports Masters League. Round number 4, he wins in Baku.
Slayer's got a puncture. Left rear puncture for Slayer, and there's contact with Adair. Adair was trying to go around the outside of him, out on track. It's all carnage coming down the hill. Gives Volokongan and Johan now P4 and 5, and Michalitzi could land himself a P6. Look at Slayer, he's going so slow, he literally has to get out the way, Michalitzi. And Michalitzi's going to come home in 6th. 7th position, Slayer could hang on for 8th. Kaz is trying to close in. That rear left puncture going on the final lap of the race. We said watch his tyres. He'd managed to get it a lap later than Andres, and Slayer across the line, but he hangs on for 8th. Goodness me, that was tense.
That was tense, wasn't it, as we just get across the line there. Amazing Hour did get ahead of Harry towards the line. I think, actually, Harry moved to one side. Yeah, 800th of a second between the two of them, but it doesn't matter the order they finished that car and finished that race. It's that they did finish in those positions. It means that Volokongan finishes in 4th place, Johan 5th, Adair in 6th, with Michalitzi in 7th, Kaz in 8th, with Slayer getting that wounded car to the line in 9th place. Anderoa finishes in 10th, Oscar Marino 11th, Nathan in 12th, Jonas in 13th place. We're just waiting now for the two F1 Friends Cup cars to make their way towards the line. Kaiser will finish in 14th place, and Ruben with that spin late on in the race at turn 7. Austin powersing it, if you like, to try and get himself towards the line. Bullet Boy finishes the race then with the checker flag in 16th place. He did finish under his own power, so he should be able to get the points there for his team. But what a dramatic race we've had. What a dramatic night we've had in Azerbaijan. It's Kazizel who takes the win, but the star of the show, Leonis, absolutely dominating the field. Mikulitsi wins the driver of the day, as voted for by the virtual fans. It has been quite a day, hasn't it? Why not have a little bit of a jig up there? Show off. Why not? It's his moment. Kazizel wins the race here in Baku. But what a showing, James, from the two Leonis drivers finishing in second and third. 42 points scored for their team, and a quarter of the points they picked up so far this season has been at this one race alone. Great driving from them.
Absolutely brilliant driving from Leonis, but we cannot take it away from Kazizel, who, I've got to be honest, with a really bad pun incoming, he was in sizzling form.
Oh dear. And that brings us nicely onto the unofficial results for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here in the Esports Masters League, round number 4. It is Kazizel who takes the win here for FRL Esports. Amazing hour in second, and Harry Bank finishing in third place there. 800 of a second between them. It means Leonis then do come away from this race as the point scorer winners. Unofficially, of course, with all those stewards' inquiries to come in. But it's Volo Kongan in 4th place, Johan in 5th, with Adair in 6th, Mikulitsi 7th, Kaz in 8th, with Slayer 9th and Andorra rounding out the top 10. Marino in 11th place, Nathan in 12th, Yonis 13th, Kaiser 14th, with Ruben in 15th. Bullet Boy, we believe he finished not under his own power, actually. He did relieve this session, so that's no points for CPI at all. S2V losing Andres in that race as well. Couldn't get it back to the pit lane, unfortunately, so no points from him for S2V. And both the GTZ cars did not finish this race. Pedrao had issues all night with his internet connection. Unfortunately, couldn't make it to the end of the race. And Dantas, unfortunately, just not a race to remember for him. Whenever there was a wall, he seemed to be magnetised towards it. Really unfortunate for him, and he retires from the race. However, the races we did have left, James, we had 6 virtual safety cars. Count them, 6. And we still had a great race on our hands.
6 virtual safety cars must be a new record around this track, honestly. We had 4, I think, in Silverstone last night for Division 1. Just takes it to a whole new level around here in Baku. But Kazizel in sizzling form. Amazing hour. Really good drive from him and Harry in 3rd, the Leonis man. We go to Canada next month on the 16th of December. The 16th of December, of course, coming 9 days before one celebration that we're all going to be enjoying here in the UK for some weird reason, and that's Christmas.
Yeah, who'd ever thought they'd be hearing that holiday at this time, at this scenario at all? But yes, you can join us on the 16th of December for the next round when we head to the Canadian Grand Prix. A track I love there as well. Don't forget as well, next month at 7 o'clock it is League 1, and then at 8:30 it will be the Premier Division, both times at Greenwich Mean Time, so please adjust your time at that. The best way to find out when we're going live next is by subscribing to the channel down below, hitting the notification bell so you're notified every time a race goes live here at League Racing TV. If there is a weekday, chances are we're racing. That's the beauty of it, so don't miss another race ever again. I'm warning you. Actually, I'm threatening to subscribe. That's a bit of a new one. That's a bit of a new tactic. It's a guerrilla tactic for sure, but I'm going to use it. All of our subscription and all of our details are down in the description box below as well. If you want to follow myself, Kieran McGinley, and James Head, who have been your commentators tonight, our Twitters are down below as well. Click the links and follow us. We really appreciate it. Also, don't forget as well, the man behind the scenes in Tom Zaggers, his Twitter is down below. He's the man behind that dual screen you've been seeing, the graphics and the actual fantastic camera work we've seen from him on his end. He's had these 2 streams. He's had to listen to 2 lots of us all the way through, so fair play to him. He deserves the most amount of credit. Give him a follow as well down below, and of course don't forget to follow Esports Masters League as well. Should be on your screen now. Head to the page there and they will be your source for the official results when we get them and when all the stewards' inquiries are finished up. And that's all we have to say really, James. I mean, I'll hand it over to you for the final words from this race.
Yeah, fantastic stuff out on track here in Baku. Of course, Leonis really dominating the headlines. Kazizel as well winning the race. You can tune in, of course, more action tomorrow night. Division 2 and 3 are going to be live, 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time. That is myself and Michael Edwards taking you through Division 2. And Division 3, of course, it is Aidan Carter and TTG Conti who are taking you through. Why don't you tune in? Get us on that road to 1,000 subscribers. Well, I've noticed there's been quite a few more tonight. So thank you to everyone that has tuned in across both streams. And Kieran, back over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. As James has said, we're now at this moment in time 714 subscribers, so we're getting closer and closer to that goal of 1,000 subscribers. So any help and any subscribers are much appreciated as well. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's action tonight. It certainly has been action for sure, and I hope you have enjoyed your Wednesday evening tonight. James, you've got another update.
717 subscribers.
Oh, it's just exponential growth at this point. Thank you so much for subscribing. It does mean a lot to us and the channel, and hopefully we'll get to that 1,000 sooner rather than later. What I will say though is please take care of yourselves in this crazy world out there that we live in right now, and just make sure you keep yourself safe. Make sure you stay safe with what's going on in the world as well. In the meantime though, thank you very much for watching, and for Esports Masters League we will see you next month. In the meantime, I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been James Head.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.